of things. One is I get the pleasure of introducing our panel. But I wanted to just follow up on a nugget that Allison gave you, which is this concept of a little bundle of unlocked potential. And that's truly what the 500,000 children who are born in California every year are, this bundle of unlocked potential. And then the data points that Jen gave you, that many of them are not able to reach that potential. And I would argue that that is just a function of opportunity, that our job is to offer opportunity. How many of you have a young child under 6 in your life, a niece, a nephew, a neighbor, a son, a daughter, a grand? So just raise your hand, say it proud. So when you think about that child, I'm imagining that you have a vision of an upward trajectory, of that child meeting whatever they can do. And yet for many kids, as Jen just told you, we work in Oakland. The benefit of being an Oakland-based philanthropy is that we get to both know this really fancy stuff around evidence-based practice and adult-child interaction and data and data-informed decisions and da-da-da. We get to know so much about the science of early childhood. And indeed, the science of early childhood is rich, and it's only grown in the last 20 years. Since we've been able to understand our brains and the neural connections that are formed in the first 3 and 5 years of life, our understanding of what it takes to be a healthy child have grown just about as dramatically. But I want to give you a sense of what we mean by that evidence base. Because we're in a local philanthropy, we get to be in schools all the time. We get to know the kids that we're talking about. They're not data points to us. I made a couple of copies of Dante, who will be, Dante's going to go around the room. You can just sort of see it and pass it. I think it's really important to have our kids in the room with us because they tell us way more than any researcher can. Dante was a year before starting kindergarten when I met him last year. Our foundation is very much in the belief of evidence-based practice. We believe that we must have data to understand what children need. So Dante's teacher did a little assessment with him. You know, she gave him a sticker and she wanted to know, like, I'm just getting to know this kid. Who's this kid in my classroom? And so she gave him a couple of cards and she said, what's this, Dante? What's this? This is a baby. Dante didn't know what a baby was. He couldn't say the word, he didn't know the meaning, and he couldn't use it in a sentence. He's 4 years old. This is a bear. Dante maybe had never been read a book about a bear because he couldn't say what a bear was. This is a kitty cat. He couldn't say cat, he couldn't say kitty, he couldn't say kitten, because he didn't know that. This is an apple. He couldn't say the word apple. He didn't know it. He couldn't use it in a sentence. He didn't know the meaning. So when we say children are low language, or we say they need new literacy skills, we need children to have a working fluency, both accuracy, meaning, understanding of basic vocabulary words. And Dante hadn't been exposed to them. He didn't know. So the teacher gave him a little sticker and said, thanks, Dante. And she couldn't even administer the rest of the assessment. You know, it's like, let the kid out of his misery, right? Because there's no point in going forward. He can't do it. But that data gave her a lot to go on. And over the course of the year, we were able to build the capacity of the adults in Dante's life. Because children learn through relationships. And so when we think about evidence-based practice, we're really thinking about relationships. Children don't learn to be literate human beings in any way except for their brain gets turned on because somebody loves them and feeds them what they need. And that's what we did with Dante. So the Rainin Foundation invested in his teacher and invested in his mother. So through family literacy programs and through teacher capacity building programs, Dante learned. And that leads me to the picture of Dante in the spring. Okay, so you could correct it and you could say that doesn't say bridge, it says Briggen or something. I don't know what it says. But I was visiting Dante's classroom and I said, Dante, tell me about the picture. What did you draw? I drew a bridge. The big one, it's orange, but they say it's golden. Okay, 9 months ago, he didn't know the word apple. He just got golden and orange and bridge. Tell me more about the bridge, Dante. I go across it to see my grandma. Oh, tell me more. What do you see when you go across it? Oh, my grandma, she makes me good pie. Oh, tell me about that pie. He just keeps talking and talking and talking. This is the same boy who didn't know the word cat, right? We couldn't even give him the assessment because he didn't have a working vocabulary. Finally, I say, we go on and on. Finally, I say, what does that say at the bottom, Dante? And he says, it says no go. Why does it say no go? Well, no go there. There's sharks down in that water. So when I love this kid, right? Because this is the bundle of unlocked potential. We've just unlocked it, right? This kid now and this mom and this teacher are all effective in what they're doing on what I would argue are the most important issues of our time. That we get to match the really unparalleled development of early childhood. I mean, we really don't have any other time in our lives where we are just skyrocketing towards our greatest potential than we do in our first 5 years of life. We get to match that potential of our dramatic development with the resources of people like you. And we get to pair them together and make sure that all children are on the trajectory that Dante is now on. I mean, there's no question in my mind this kid is going to college. He'll be the first in his family. And that's what all of our panelists have worked on their whole careers. So we're really lucky to have this group of people. So how am I supposed to do this? Do I call you and then you come up? Because if so, I should get out of your chair. Okay, so first we have Chris Perry. Chris is the executive director. Woo! Chris is the executive director of the First 5 Years Fund. Chris has had a career that has been dedicated to the healthy development of young children. As a child welfare social worker, as a parent of 2 children, as a First 5 director in San Mateo County, and then First 5 California, and now at the First 5 Years Fund. Chris has really dedicated her life to bridging policy, practice, and research to the benefit of young children. So if you're interested in what Marco Rubio thinks about early childhood, she's your gal. She'll tell you all about it because she's deep in the policy part of that work right now, but it comes from a very informed place around what it is to be a practitioner and what the research tells us. Next, we have Dr. Dana Long, who we love. I think I'd known Dana for 7 seconds when we started talking about what do children really need holistically to meet their potential. Dana is deep in it with her patients every day at Children's Hospital in Oakland, Benioff Children's, I'm sorry, her boss is in the room and I can't say the name of the hospital yet.
Children's Hospital
Oakland, thank you. We never leave Oakland, so this is sort of an outing for us. But Dana has really dedicated her life to service. She was an AmeriCorps volunteer. She is doing the job. She can't imagine loving a job more than this, am I right? When you see Dana in her clinic, it's all about the patients she sees and the information she gives them to make better decisions about them, but also to inform her bigger picture of her research questions and the policy and advocacy work she cares about. Finally, we have Jim Steyer. Thank you for coming, Jim.
Yep.
I should say Chris is the mom of 2, Dana's the mom of 3, and Jim is the dad of 4. So that was how we decided the lineup.
Try it out, guys. Try it out.
So Jim has the most extensive history in early childhood development with
That's
his
correct.
4. Jim was the founder of Children Now. He has dedicated his life to advocacy on early childhood policies that make sense for California and for our nation. He has taken an interest in entrepreneurship and technology and how technology and healthy child development come to an intersection. And he is truly a policy expert around early childhood, so we're very grateful to have you here in your role with Common Sense Media and Next Generation. Thank you, Jim.